You're 18 years old. You're standing outside a pachinko parlor in Shinjuku at 11 p.m. Your shoes are worn out. Your pockets are empty. And the man who brought you here tells you one thing. Just watch the door. That's it. That's the whole job. You don't ask questions. You don't know the man's name. You just stand there, arms crossed, trying to look like you belong. A drunk salaryman stumbles out. You step aside. He doesn't even look at you. 3 hours later, a guy in a gray tracksuit walks out and slides an envelope into your jacket pocket without a word. You open it in the train bathroom. 30,000 yen, more than you made in a week at the ramen shop. You stare at yourself in the mirror. You already know you're coming back tomorrow. 2 months in, they know your face now. That matters more than you realize. Your job is simple. You carry things. Bags. Envelopes, sometimes packages you're told never to open. You don't open them. You ride the subway to Kabukicho. You hand the package to a man outside a bar. He nods. You walk away. You do this 4, 5, sometimes 6 weeks a week. You don't know what's inside. You don't want to know, but you start noticing things. The men you deliver to all have the same tattoo peeking out from under their collar. A wave, a koi fish, a dragon. You start learning the streets. Which corners belong to who, which bars are fronts, which cops look the other way. Nobody told you this. You just watched. And they notice that you watch. One evening, an older man, late 40s, calm eyes, expensive watch, sits across from you at a noodle shop. He doesn't introduce himself. He just says, "You're not stupid." He stands up, pays for both meals, leaves. The next day, your envelope is twice as heavy. You have a mentor now. His name is Kenji. He's 34. He's been in the organization for 12 years. He has a scar under his left eye, and he laughs at everything, even things that aren't funny. You follow him everywhere. He teaches you how to collect. Not with violence, not yet, with presence. You walk into a shop that owes money. You don't say anything threatening. You just stand there. You let the silence do the work. 9 times out of 10, the owner walks to the register himself. You eat dinner with Kenji most nights. Izakayas, never fancy places. He drinks too much. He talks about his family back in Osaka, a daughter he never sees. You think he's confiding in you. Later, you'll understand he was testing you. How you hold secrets, whether you ask too many questions, whether you look uncomfortable. You pass every test without knowing you're taking it. One afternoon, Kenji hands you a phone. On the screen is a name and address. Go talk to him alone. You don't ask what happened. You go. The ceremony is not what you imagined. There are no candles, no grand speeches, no movie-style swearing on a sword. It's a quiet room above a restaurant in Nakameguro. 8 men, low lighting, a wooden table. You kneel. The oyabun, the boss, is a man in his 60s, small, still, the kind of stillness that means he's never needed to raise his voice in 30 years. He speaks slowly. You were now bound, not by contract, not by law, by obligation, by loyalty, by blood. Not your blood, but the blood of everything the organization has built before you were born. You accept a small ceremonial cup of sake. You drink. That's it. But when you walk out into the cool night air, something has shifted. You feel it in your chest, heavy and permanent. You belong to something now, and something belongs to you. Your mother calls that night. She asks how work is going. You tell her fine. You're managing a logistics company. She sounds relieved. You stare at the ceiling for a long time before you sleep. 6 months after initiation, you have your own territory. A small block in Ikebukuro. 3 gambling spots, 2 loan clients, 1 protection arrangement with a nightclub owner who's grateful, mostly because he knows what happens when someone isn't. You have a junior now, 19 years old, looks exactly like you did 18 months ago. You teach him the same way Kenji taught you. Silence first, presence first. Words are for people who don't know how to use a room. The money is real now, not envelopes. Transfers, properties listed under names that don't exist, an apartment in Minato-ku that costs more per month than your father made in a year. You buy your mother a new refrigerator. She asks where the money comes from. You say you got promoted. She asks no more questions. You're making more than you ever dreamed, and you're starting to understand why everyone at the top looks tired. 2 years in, you have a team now, not 2 or 3 people, 11. You run collection across a corridor of 4 neighborhoods. You sit in meetings with men who've been doing this since before you were born. They listen when you speak. That's new. That matters. You've also had your first real moment of violence. You don't talk about it, not here, not ever, but it changed the texture of everything. The food tastes slightly different. Music sounds slightly further away. You sleep fine. That's what scares you most. You sleep fine. You've also started to see the machine clearly. Lawyers on retainer, city officials who attend the organization's charity events, a construction company that bids on government contracts and wins with suspicious consistency. This isn't crime the way films show it. This is infrastructure. You are a functioning part of a functioning system, and the system runs because everyone plays their role and no one asks the wrong questions. You've stopped asking questions entirely. That earns you the next conversation. The Oyabun calls you in personally, not through a messenger, not through Kenji, directly. You sit across from him for the first time in 2 years. He's aged, but those eyes haven't changed. Still, reading everything. He tells you there's a problem in Yokohama. A competing group is pushing into territory that isn't theirs. It needs to be managed quietly. He wants you to manage it. This is not a request. You take 3 men and a car to Yokohama that same night. What happens over the next 72 hours stays in Yokohama. When you come back, you're a lieutenant, your own crew, your own budget, a seat at the table no one outside this room knows exists. You should feel triumphant. Instead, you feel the walls of the room getting slightly closer. You notice you've stopped calling old friends. You notice you look at exits first when you enter any building. You notice your junior, the 19-year-old, looks at you the same way you used to look at Kenji, hungry, watching, learning. You recognize the look because you invented it. 3 years in, the National Police Agency has a file on the organization. You don't know this for certain, but you know it the way you know weather is changing. You feel it. A man who ran collection in Shibuya disappeared 3 months ago. No body, no explanation. The organization says nothing. That's the loudest thing they've ever said. You start varying your routes. You start eating at different restaurants, never the same one twice in 2 weeks. Your phone is clean. Your second phone is cleaner. Your third phone only 3 people know exists. You've become very good at being careful, but careful is exhausting. You have more money than you can realistically spend. Your apartment is exceptional. Your suits are perfect, and you feel like you're standing on glass over a very long drop. Kenji calls you, first time in months. He sounds strange, too casual, too light, the way he used to sound when he was testing you. You meet him for noodles. You watch his hands the whole meal. That night, you move 2 significant items from your apartment to a location no one knows about, just in case. You're not sure what you're afraid of. That's exactly what makes you afraid. Something shifts inside the organization. You don't know what it is. You're never supposed to know everything, but you feel the temperature change. 2 lieutenants stop appearing at meetings. Their juniors are absorbed quietly into other crews. No ceremony, no explanation. You ask nothing. You watch everything.
Then a prosecutor's office in Tokyo announces a major organized crime investigation. 3 names are released publicly. You don't recognize the names, but the men who do recognize them go very quiet. You're summoned to a meeting, 12 men in a room. The Oyabun speaks for 40 minutes without raising his voice once. When you leave, you have new instructions, new protocols, new ways to route everything, and one name, a man inside the organization who the meeting room believes is cooperating with investigators. The way the Oyabun says the name, quietly, without emotion, is the most terrifying thing you've ever heard, because he's looking at no one, but everyone in the room feels looked at, including you.
6 months later, an investigator approaches you outside a convenience store in Shinjuku. Not in a police car, not with backup, just a woman in plain clothes and a gray coat. She holds up credentials. She puts them away before anyone else can see. She says your name. She says, "We know what you know." She hands you a card with only a phone number on it. "Think about it," she says. She walks away. You stand in the convenience store for a long time. You buy a canned coffee. You drink it slowly. You think about the man from Shibuya who disappeared. You think about the 19-year-old who watches you the way you used to watch Kenji. You think about your mother and her refrigerator and how she asks no questions. You think about the name the Oyabun said in that room and how he was looking at no one. You put the card in your jacket pocket. You walk to the train station. You stand on the platform. You have exactly 3 real options. Use the card, go deeper, or disappear before someone else makes the decision for you. The train arrives. You step on. The door closes behind you. This is where most stories end, one of 3 ways. A quiet arrest, years in a cell, a deal that costs you everything but your life, a sudden ending that doesn't make the news, a name that goes unspoken in a room just like the others, or something rarer, a door somewhere, a different city, a different name, a life assembled from the wreckage of the old one. None of them look like winning, but one of them means you wake up tomorrow. The train moves through the underground tunnels of Tokyo. You look at your reflection in the black window. You remember being 18 years old outside a pachinko parlor, watching a door, thinking the money was the point. The money was never the point. The point was the door kept opening and you kept walking through until you couldn't find the way back. The train surfaces above ground. The city stretches out in every direction, bright, enormous, indifferent. And somewhere in it, the clock is already running on whatever comes next.